Hello everyone, this is Random Epic Dude, and today I'm going to be showing you how to get started with Super Mario Strikers using the Citrus build. So to kind of start off this tutorial, I'm going to kind of explain what Citrus actually is. All it is a custom Dolphin that was built by Poolboy, and what it does is it comes preloaded with a bunch of pre-installed Gecko codes, which are really nice if you're going to be playing online. And it pairs with the Citrus Launcher app in order to allow you to review stats from your previous matches, as well as watch replays of those matches. So it's a really cool tool, and I'll be showing you how to get everything set up. So this tutorial is going to be split into three parts. The first will be about the Citrus Dolphin, just the bare bones setup just to get you playing, either locally or online with other people from the server. Second part will be kind of a how to use Citrus Launcher to look at everything and how to get that set up. And part three will be about troubleshooting. If you're running into issues running the game, or if you're having online issues whenever you're playing with other people, I'll provide some tips that might be able to help out there. So to get started, go ahead and visit this URL, which I'll have posted in the description. You probably also got it from the main Striker server as well. But this will just link to the Citrus Launcher release page. Currently, we're on version 0.2.0, but won't matter for any future versions that come out. So what you need to know is that Citrus Launcher is going to include both the launcher where you view your replays and stats, as well as the actual Dolphin build. So this is the only file that you need to download. So just go ahead and click Citrus Launcher Setup here, and you'll get a prompt probably asking you to save the file. On some browsers, or depending on what your security settings are, it might try to warn you that the file is from an unknown source, and it'll give you the option to keep the file, so make sure you click that. But for me, I just have a save file option here. So go ahead and save that. I already have it downloaded here, but just go ahead and save it there, and then go over to your downloads folder. So here in the downloads folder, we can see I have the setup.exe here, so double click that. You'll get this prompt saying from Windows Defender, basically, exe file doesn't know where it's actually from, so it's going to warn you. So just click More Info and then hit Run anyways, and it'll go through the entire installation process, no problem. So once that is done, Citrus Launcher is actually going to open automatically here, and you should see this screen here. So we don't really care about what's going on here right now. For now, just click on the Dolphin icon here to open the actual Dolphin client. Um, Depending on whether you've used Dolphin before or not, you may see uh, Mario Strikers here already if you have it downloaded. But in case you don't, just go to Configuration, Paths, and then set your path here. So for me, I have everything on the desktop here. So, yep. And also, another thing about that, if you have multiple games in your ROMs folder, but only Mario Striker shows up, don't worry, that's intended. It automatically filters out other games, so no need to worry about that. So once you're here, you're pretty much ready to start playing. Um, you can double click the game to get started, but first thing you're going to want to do is to come over to controller setup, port 1 standard controller configure, and here you can choose whether, if you have a game controller or a gamepad, then you can get that set up here. Just click the button and then hit the corresponding button on the controller. Or you can use a keyboard or the mouse. But most people are going to be on the controller. But once you have that done, you can just double click the game here and it'll start and there shouldn't be any problems here. So now with the game up and running, I can go over how we are going to be setting up our online play. So go ahead and close that out. Oops. So to play online with friends or people in the community, it's going to be the same process either way. And that's going to be done through Dolphin NetPlay. So go ahead and come up here to Tools and click Start NetPlay. From here, you'll have the option to connect or the host. One thing real quick is to make sure that your connection type is set to transversal server instead of direct connection. So go ahead and if you're going to be connecting to someone else, they'll send you a code. So you can just copy and paste that here and then hit connect. If you're hosting, then come over to the host panel, select Super Mario Strikers, and click host. And from here, we're going to see the NetPlay window. This is where you can manage everyone who's in your lobby and stuff. So right over here is going to be everyone in the lobby. The code that you need to send them is right here. Down here, you can assign everyone's controller port. So if someone is going to be just spectating and you don't want them, contributing to the ping or the lag, just set them to none. And here we have the buffer selector. So buffer is how we attempt to mitigate lag when we're dealing with longer distance connections. So generally, the best rule of thumb here is to take the biggest difference in ping in your lobby and divide that by 10, and that should get you around the buffer that you want to be. From there, you can kind of tweak it and see what you get, but that's a good rule of thumb just to get started. So you can hit start here, and it'll go ahead and start the game with no issues at all. You can minimize this chat window if you want, and yeah, that's all you have to do. So now that I've shown you the general setup as well as NetPlay stuff, I can real quick show you how to access the Gecko codes we have preloaded on here. So there's a total of 4. I will have some other Gecko codes on there just from that I've added, but I'll point out which ones are going to be pre-included. So to access them, just right-click on Super Mario Strikers here and go to Properties, and scroll over here to Gecko codes. And these first 4 are going to be preloaded in here, while these 4 are ones that I've added. So unlock all stadiums and default to competitive rule set, and no chain chomp item. You're going to want to have those 2 enabled at all times if you're going to be playing with people on the server. As for these 2, the enable the first to 7. Each of these will add a first to 7 game mode where game ends after 7 goals. And the only difference between the 2 is the time limit that the game sets. So feel free to play with that if you want, but those 4 are the ones that are going to be pre-included. And you can of course add more. And as for NetPlay, when you're doing NetPlay with Gecko codes, whoever the host is going to sync their codes with the rest of the players. So if you don't have a code that the host has, then don't worry about it. You'll receive that code at least temporarily while that session is in play. So that basically does it for the just the Citrus Dolphin part of this tutorial. It's really not too complicated once you get past some of the Windows Defender protections and everything. But getting the game up and running is not too difficult. If you want to see replays of your matches and view stats, this will already be recording them in the background. So we're just going to set up Citrus Launcher to see all of them. So go ahead and click the gear icon here. And you want to set your Striker's ISO location. So for me, it's just here in my ROMs folder. And then you want to find the exe file for Dolphin. Now, this can be a bit of a pain if it's not set up correctly. So but out of the box. So just click select file, navigate to your C drive, go to users, select your name, click app data, roaming, Citrus launcher, Dolphin, x64, and then here it is, citrusdolphin.exe. A bit of a pain, but that's consequence of having everything baked into one program. And then next you have your replay folder location. So you're going to want to select folder, and where you can set this wherever you want, but by default it's going to be here at documents, Dolphin emulator, Citrus replays. So this is where your replays are going to be saved by default, but let's say you want to store them in a different folder or someone sends you a folder, you can set this to that location and that'll work too. So I'm going to click upload, click home, and you'll see a bunch of my matches have already loaded. So to get started with using Citrus, it's pretty simple. You have three options here. You have the three dots, which will take you to the settings. You have this bar icon, which will take you to the match stats. So you can see your number of goals made, the shots taken, your shot ratio, time of possession, number of items you used, how many hits you got, steals, super strikes, perfect passes. Over here, you can see the stadium, whether you were online, whether it went to sudden death, and even the rule set from the in-game menu. And down here, you get more advanced statistics like, when your goals were taken, what type of goal you took, as well as a shot chart here, which shows you your misses and your makes. And if you're curious about what these shot types are, and what kind of tech the community has developed, you can hit this icon here, and it'll bring up an example of the shot type for, that particular stat. And down here, you can also see your mushroom usage, or not your mushroom, your item usage, whether it be, just for like a mushroom, the number of times used. If you go to detailed view, it'll actually show you every single item with a timestamp. So that's a really cool feature to have. So in addition to all of these stats you see here, you can actually watch your game back. So all you need to do is click play replay here, or you can do it from here with the same green icon. So it'll load up the replay, and it'll open a brand new Dolphin window with the game already loaded up. If you run into a warning like this about memory card stuff, pretty much anything that says ignore for this session, you can just click that and it'll work fine. If you run into any other issues though, you can ask Poolboy or someone in the community about it. But here we can see the game playing exactly how it was when I played this match. And I have hotkeys here to pause the replay and to speed it up. Unfortunately, with the way that we're doing this, since we're just recording raw inputs, there's no way to go backwards, but you can pause and fast forward your match. And you can set up the hotkeys for that here in options, hotkey settings. Toggle pause, I have mine set to F10. And then to do the speed up, you do disable emulation speed limit, and I have mine set to F9. So that's one way that you can kind of navigate around the replays and kind of get to a point that you want to see based on the timestamps given for the stats. But yeah, when you're done with the replay, you can just close the window and you'll be back here on Citrus. So that pretty much does it for the entire setup section for both Citrus Dolphin and the launcher itself. And this is pretty much everything that you need to know to get started with playing with people on the server. Um, but if you still have any questions, such as about the custom textures you saw, or just any other general help requests, go ahead and ask anyone in the server. They'll be more than willing to help you out. But I will be going over a couple of tips that I can give you uh, for, in case you run into issues with, let's say, your frame rate while playing the game, or if you run into lag. So go ahead and give you some tips on that. So if you find that Super Mario Strikers is running at a lower frame rate that you were expecting, um, the first place I would look is your graphic settings. So come over here to option, hit graphic settings, and you'll get this window here. Um, there's other videos that show you exactly, what to set up here to make sure, it suits your computer best. But if you want a quick and cheap solution, then come here to enhancements. Make sure that your internal resolution is, lowered to a point that your computer can handle. Same thing with anti-aliasing, anti-strophic filtering, and post-processing effects. Just make sure to have those, to lower those based on what your computer is able to handle. In addition to all of this, if you come over to options configuration, you can disable the replay files here, and you'll lose the ability to to record these replays here. But because that's not going to be running in the background, that should help a lot with, reducing the load on your PC and being able to run the game more smoothly. When it comes to your net play and what you can do to kind of improve your net play experience, um, if you're able to move your router, get that as close to your computer as possible, or if you have a laptop, get as close to your router as possible. Um, for both, if you have the option to connect directly to your router with an Ethernet cable, do that. That is the best, most stable connection that you're going to get. And I highly recommend it for anyone if you have the ability to do that. Outside of that, it really just comes down to tweaking the buffer and finding a level that works for you and your opponent. I would make sure that you don't go above 20 though. 20 buffer is basically what the community considers to be the upper limit of what is playable for Super Mario Strikers. At that point, you're getting a ton of controller latency and input latency, so it's a bit of a mess, but technically playable. But yeah, I mean, those are the tips that I can give you here just real quick at the end of this video. But if you want more help, then go ahead and visit us on the Discord server and head over to SMS Citrus Support. If you ask a question here, somebody will help you out eventually, whether it be with getting set up, improving your frame rate, or improving your internet connection. People will be here to help out. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have. Um, Hopefully that helps you get started here. And like I said, if you need more help, just come over here and ask. And yeah, we're always excited to see new players join us here. So hopefully you can enjoy Super Mario Strikers with the rest of us. Hope to see you there.